midwife in this community for 40 years. Vagina is after the uterus. Just you're coming through this dark canal and there's light and you cannot miss that light. And that's where we are. We're in the vagina of the cannabis movement.
Thank you all for coming to these awards. Now go out and smoke some.
I have been a midwife in this community.
Look, we already got a technical error. Hey, everybody. I'm Lelania Dubois. And as you can see, I've got some amazing people on the screen with me right now. We've got Adelia Carrillo of Event High, Kat Ing of the Ethica Data Alliance, and Michael Beck of Royal Grown Radio and Royal Gold. What are we doing here on your Facebook live feed on a Sunday? Well, we're here to raise money for folks in the Emerald Triangle who were heavily impacted by the devastating fires of 2021. We all live in Michael and I and a lot of our guests live in a region called the Emerald Triangle. And the Emerald Triangle has been curating cannabis. I actually know a family for 6 generations. We've protected this plant for many years and really have built a foundation around it and what we're now building off of for this industry. And right now, those communities are being impacted through many things, climate change being one of them. This fire ravaged these communities for over 4 months. And then they're also dealing with heavy changes in legalization and taxation that's not allowing them to get through the permit process fully. We have one county that had over 450 farms wanting to become legal. Right now has only 6 farms because they're unable to afford or get through the processes. So today we're here to raise funds not only for those farms, but for all landowners, small business owners, and local organizations to help them rebuild and keep going to sustain our beautiful culture here in the Emerald Triangle. And thank you, all of you watching and getting ready to participate, for joining us. Adelia, welcome. Michael, Kat. So Kat, you've been, first, thanks for helping on production. Kat and I are going to be behind the scenes doing production. Adelia and Michael are going to be your hosts with the mostest today. And then you're going to get to see some amazing guests. We have Kieko here from Coral Cove Wellness. She's going to share what global community means. We have Duncan McIntosh, who is a local community leader in Trinity County. And he really brought his community, was a part of bringing his community together and rallying face-to-face against these fires. We've got OGs coming on. We've got breeders coming on. We've got mad scientists coming on. We're going to teach you how technologies can save the day for these legacies. We're going to show you us, all sorts of us. Some of my favorite people actually are coming on today. So I'm really excited. Adelia, Michael, anything you want to say to everybody before we dive into our 5-hour extravaganza of Emerald Triangle cannabis?
I just wanted to say I'm so excited to be a co-host with Michael for this, this amazing community event that Humboldt, Grace, and Lele have put together. As Lele said, we have an amazing lineup of speakers joining us and giving us their Sunday to make this event a huge success in the hopes that we can sell more auction items. So get those wallets out and let's really make an impact today.
Wonderful. And I'd like to just echo those sentiments and express my gratitude for Lele and all of these community members for coming together, and all of you for watching, everyone who comes in after, everyone who takes a minute to bid on an item. Thank you all for supporting our community. It is integrally important for all of our survival and growth to work together and communicate. And Humboldt Grace and the Humboldt Grace Fire Recovery Project have been that conduit, that connection, and are helping to bring us all into the future where we're supporting each other and surviving and thriving in the new world of cannabis legislation.
Thanks, Michael.
Okay, well, I just want to say that, and I've said this amongst our group before, I'm a longtime cannabis user. And for the privilege I've always enjoyed, I feel honored to be able to support the farmers that have allowed me to do that for most of my life.
Thanks, you guys. It's an honor, and it's exciting to have, local and global here, really showing these farmers that they have support, that it's a tough time right now, but a lot of people are here to support. So we're going to start off the show with someone I grew up with. I've known Duncan his whole life. I'm a little older than him, but I really appreciate hearing Duncan speak because he loves community as much as I do. And we're going to start with a little clip that shows one of his moments in the actual fire.
It is roaring up there. It's actually settled down quite a bit. Wind is at my back. Red Hill is ablaze. Holy shit.
Hello, Duncan. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for providing this platform for us to share. Fire, cannabis, community are all factors of my life that I hold very dear. So yeah, thank you for having us.
No problem. For those of you who don't know Duncan, and this is our first time meeting, so this is a pleasure for me, but he is member of the North Fork Grange community facilitator. He's part of the Trinity County Planning Commission and does just a tremendous amount of connection and contribution to this entire community. Longtime cultivator and someone who's been involved deeply in Northern California, Trinity County, Emerald County legislation and communication. So thank you, Duncan. I'm really excited to kind of chat through some of your contributions and what this project means to you.
Yeah, fun.
So tell us a little bit about your involvement here and why it means so much to you.
Oh man, where to start? Well, first of all, along with Lele, I grew up in these mountains. My family have been up in these mountains my children would be sixth generation. We've been farmers, loggers, teachers, construction workers, and we've had to really be able to adapt to the ever-changing boom and busts of this Klamath knot in which we live. And so cannabis has been a vehicle for our community to continue to survive and thrive when the timber industry went away. And that created, after Prop 215, that created an opportunity for us to kind of come out of the shadows and be able to have our plants in our front yards and be able to grow the medicine and grow it with pride. And there was culture and community that was built through these experiences and this way of life. And so when legalization was on the horizon, we realized that if we're not on the menu, if we're not at the table, we're going to be on the menu, so to speak. And so we sat there and attempted to build bridges with so many factions of our community, from the head of the drug task force to the supervisors to environmental organizations, to try to bridge the gap and kind of put a personal face on this medicine, which has had such a bad rap because of the war on drugs. And so that had enabled me to really meet so many different wonderful people from the farthest reaches of our community, from Denny to High and Palm to Hayfork and beyond. And so that was my involvement on ushering in mindful regulations in our county to support small family farms so that our community and our culture can continue. I also have been involved with our North Fork Grange, which is our community hall in Junction City. And so we have been working to also change the face of the bad stereotypes by finding opportunities for different businesses, including cannabis farms, to collaborate with the Grange, to sponsor events and to help us and to work together so that we can grow and they can grow and we can build together. And so that has been a tremendous community building opportunity and so much fun. And then, geez, fire has been just a part of our lives. Always been a part of my life. I grew up burning on my family's property and burning slash, but the wildfires have continued to get more and more into our communities and into our personal space, so to speak. Because I mean, now we have 3 months, 4 months of fire. Now we have 5 seasons rather than 4 seasons. We have the season of smoke and fire. And so, but what we found is it has also provided a tremendous opportunity that crisis is due to bring us together so that, because we can't really take care of any of this alone. And so the fire has been a tremendous community building exercise, so to speak.
I completely agree. It was very humbling to be down on the coast and watching so many family and friends go through these struggles and not having a way to effectively help and contribute as a community from the coast. And, there are calls for action, calls to help, but, that's a dangerous situation to bring people into. And it really requires platforms like this and kind of a side route in to support those communities effectively. So we want to thank you for your involvement there. That's been huge. And I want to say also your contributions to the community, that's a big part of what this entire Humboldt Grace community is about. It's part of what Royal Grown Radio is about, is bringing people together and elevating the voices so we can build this community and contribute more cohesively. And so these are these opportunities to get involved and to donate and to get something for your donation. Get into the raffle. So let's give everybody at home a little bit of instruction on how to get involved in this raffle. Like, head on over to the website, head on over to the auction and check it out. What do you know about the auction in general, Duncan? Because this has been a long time project that we've been all bringing different tiny threads in to weave this tapestry to help the community.
Yeah, my understanding of this is communicating with Lele initially and her heart extending out to the community that was suffering and finding a way that she can help. And she felt helpless along with so many other people. And so my understanding is that this auction is far reaching, far and wide, where there is art and tours and different objects that are donated from people's hearts and donated to this platform so that the proceeds can go right back to us farmers and our community to rebuild for our water systems and rebuilding barns and rebuilding our community, so to speak. And so there's one particular item on there that was a sister in Hayfork whose home almost burned. She was a prior planning commissioner for 12 years that really put her neck out there and was, I'm not gonna say she was an activist because she was a planning commissioner, but she really sees the benefit of cannabis in our community. And her name is Diana Stewart, and she has donated a quilt that is for the raffle. And it's really, really special. And it is from a pillar founding member of our community with the cannabis legalization. And so that's pretty much my understanding of it.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So we'll keep chatting for a second here, but it looks like we've got, more amazing guests coming right behind us. We got Keiko Beatty, who's going to be interviewed by Adelia Carrillo. And, we're going to dig into some more subjects here. I hope you stick around, Duncan, and participate on the social medias. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Bye,
Thank you,
Duncan.
Lele.
Thank you. And everyone who's tuning in, that quilt that Duncan mentioned, for everyone, we're keeping track of the chat. For everyone who engages in the chat, you'll be entering for a drawing for that quilt. So please participate and tune in and ask questions of our guests. Thanks, Duncan. Be safe. Be well out there.
Thank you.
All right. So is it Adelia's next, Michael? Is that what we've got up on the
That's
thing?
that's what I see.
Beautiful. All right.
Hello.
Hello.
I'll just
Oh,
take myself off, ladies. Hello.
Welcome, Keiko. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Keiko is a huge supporter of the community and has worked on so many amazing projects in cannabis. Keiko, can you share a bit more about your latest recent projects and a little bit about you?
Well, thank you so much, Adelia. It is such a pleasure and honor to be here today to support Humboldt Grace and the wonderful work that Lele has started the community in giving back and being able to help everybody who's gone through the transitions of the fire season. For myself, I've been within the industry and community since the 70s. So I'm a little bit of a OG, more so in Southern California is where I started. And I did have a farm in Southern Oregon up until a couple of years ago. And we, of course, went through the fires there. But being from a family of farmers, my parents were farmers, my grandparents were farmers, and now my son is definitely a cultivator farmer. Knowing what that's like and knowing how they had to go through this fire and the effect that it had on the community and personally as well. I really wanted to be there when I found out what Lele was doing. So thank you so much to everybody here who has joined in to bring all our efforts together to support everybody who needs our extra special help that's gone through the fire. So, and also to everyone in the technical department, Kat, Adelia, and now Michael, and everyone that's about to come up and speak too. We really couldn't have done this without Lele first starting it out. And I would say, you asked me who I am and my background. I am on a few different organization boards. Normal, I've been a part of in Orange County for a number of years, as well as the Cannabis Chamber of Commerce and the Asian Cannabis Roundtable. And I also work with some nonprofits that I support over the years, a lot of the veteran groups. So I feel that it's my place in the community to give back. Because I know one thing about cultivators, none of us would be here if it wasn't for the effort, then the kindness and the insight of cultivators. We couldn't really do this without them. And it's because of them is why we're here, that we connected with this plant that's in our life that I know that so many of us benefit from for our mental and well-being, our spiritual being as well as our physical being. And that's what cannabis can do for us. So I'm definitely I do feel I am an activist, first of all, and I'm there definitely for the patients. And so my background is Ayurvedic Chinese holistic medicine, and I've worn many hats through the years in cannabis. And I would say one of my cherished ones is what I'm doing now. I'm the Director of Education for Wellness, which is one of the first of its kind cannabis and fungi resorts, and that is located in Jamaica. And I want you to come down, Adelia. When are you and Ellie coming?
I know. We always talk about it. We got to make it happen.
Now
that things are opening up, I got my passport. That's the first step. I'm ready to come.
Well, we have to work out something for you. But when I saw what Lele was doing, I just reached out to her and I said, I want to help. I want to give my support, and if a stay at Coral Cove will entice somebody to donate and join in, it would be my honor and pleasure. And Coral Cove offers many great amenities, yoga, meditation, as well as we're right on the ocean there, beautiful Caribbean water. So there's surfing, kayaking, snorkeling, spearfishing, great food. We have our own dispensary, Adelia.
Do
So
you?
you could be there under a palapa and then order an eighth, and they'll bring it to you, and you can just roll something up and take a kayak and puff and paddle away.
Well,
We
and to
have
kind of go into that a little more, though, you actually donate. You like you said, you donated
Mhm.
a gift from Coral Cove. Can you share more about that? Because that is on the auction item. People can make bids right now for
Yes,
that.
I
Yes.
I donated for 2 people because we can't have you go by yourself. This is a trip for 4 days, 3 nights. It includes breakfast, and I also included a little gift certificate to the dispensary just to get you started off. You would fly into Montego Bay, and we do have a special ground transportation. It takes about 90 minutes to get there from the airport. And once you arrive there, you'll have this Shangri-La available to you. So there's many other things you can do there at Coral Cove. And we do offer education in fungi medicine as well. And we have a shaman who has been doing fungi ceremony for over 30 years. So there you are on the ocean, hopefully enjoying wonderful cannabis and in a relaxing place where the water temperature is on average maybe 70 degrees and the air temperature is about 80 degrees. And most of the rooms, you'll hear the ocean sing you a lullaby at night with the waves upon the sea, on the shoreline. And
Dream come true right there.
I see you and I'll leave there,
Yes,
Adelia.
definitely. Well, one question, one more question I want to touch in on is, you, like, as I mentioned, you are a big community supporter. You are a part of a lot of communities, but what is the importance of building a global community around cannabis?
Cannabis has been part of our world for thousands of years. And now that it's becoming much more legal worldwide, that's what's really going to bring us together, the understanding what they have to offer in other countries. And, for Coral Cove, we are looking at other properties besides Jamaica to spread this educational program. And what I feel globally, what's happening for us, I'm with a company where we're cultivating in Jamaica, but we're shipping internationally. So we've shipped to Switzerland, Germany, Portugal, Australia, and here in our own country of the United States, we can't even ship from California to New York, which is unfortunate. But what I feel is that globally, the world is starting to come together in respect to this plant, that it is a medicine that has been benefiting people for thousands of years. And I think that if we are reaching out and understanding the great research in Israel and the wonderful commerce that's being developed now in Europe and all throughout the world, more and more companies are coming together to build their international stake in cannabis. But more so, the community is coming together. That just parents are learning how to take care of their children, and seniors are learning how to benefit themselves from their anxiety and their sleeplessness. And it's all because we're reaching out as a global community. And now there is global tourism coming about too, which is very exciting for cannabis. So much more is being open to being developed, and I really want to be there. And that's why it will be a mission of mine to make sure that I get a dahlia and I'll eat the Coral Cove.
Yes, and then whoever, auctions that special item for that bid for the Coral Cove Wellness Package. It's a 4-day vacation, you said, for 2 people. And then for those that are just tuning in, Coral Cove Wellness is in Jamaica. And you can bid on that auction on the Humboldt Grace website. That it's a great deal.
Come on,
You just
everyone.
gifted so much.
Yes. Look at the site there from Humboldt Grace. Get your bids out there because I want to see you there. We also have spa treatments, massages. We have a brand new swimming pool, and it's right on the ocean. So if you loved being out in the warm sun and having a great cannabis there, you've got to come to Coral Cove.
Well, thank you so much for that, Keiko. We appreciate that that auction item, right, Lele? We need to all get over there. I know me and
We
Ali.
sure do.
Yes, Lele needs to come too.
I think I can share some pictures. I think I just
Oh.
figured that out. Let's see,
Okay.
because Keiko sent me some pictures.
I can tell you what they are if you can get them up on the screen.
Oh, I can, and here we are.
Oh, okay. That's a Sunset Cottage there. We have some separate cottages and we have villas.
Oh, wow.
No, I have more. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Now that is, no, where is that?
There we go.
Okay. That's the beach there. And it shows some of our amazing sunset. Now, this view is from Starlight. And that's at the top of Turtle Villa. So that's a great view there. And Starlight and Starbright are some of our finest rooms that give you amazing sunsets, sunrises. That's the interior of one of the rooms.
And right now it's only $350. It is on the rise, but it's $350 4-day vacation in Jamaica at Coral Cove.
Come on, everyone.
Get your bids in, everyone. This is going to help put good plants, good people back in the ground this year.
Who needs a little vacation, a little honeymoon?
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, Keiko. We enjoy always speaking with you. I will be in touch personally. And, I can't wait to see who the lucky guests are who will be taking advantage of this auction item.
Really hoping you have a wonderful day today. Now, come on, everyone. Get out there. Get some bids because I've bid on some items and I hope I'm a winner.
Yes. All right. Thank you, ladies. Whoops. All right. Well, I don't see Patricia. Is she on the queue, Kat? I don't see her. But I thought while we were on here, Adelia, maybe what we could do is show some more items.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk about some more items.
Can you see them when I share the screen?
Let me check it out. Let's see. Yep. That looks like the Coral Cove one. So we're on that one. And it's now 400.
We've got some tools from Pearson's. Pearson's is a local building supply in Humboldt County. Woo, nice. We're at 125 for those tools. Great. Wow. This is a nice little kit with some earrings and a bracelet from a local gift store that folks can bid on. A beautiful picture of a fire by one of he is an amazing activist for the environment, Dave Farrell. These will be done on metal frames, so they'll have a lot of depth to them.
Wow. We got Patricia back. Patricia is here.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. One comment. So as everyone's looking at what Lele's showing, you all can go to HumboldtGrace.org And in the menu, to make it easier for everyone, it will state it on the menu. You can click on Fire Recovery Auction, and that will show you all the auction items that you can start bidding on. So to make it easier, go to humboldtgrace.org and then click on Fire Recovery Auction. Well, Patricia, thank you for being here, and welcome. So I am honored that you're joining us today. Can you please share with our viewers that may not know you a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Patricia A. Patton. At home, they call me Ann, my brothers and sisters. But in the digital sphere, I'm known as Canna Boomer. And so you'll find me on my podcast, Me and Mary Jane, or writing about, specifically writing about disparities in health and how plant medicine, cannabis and hemp, can help you as you age. That's been my focus in terms of educating myself. And last year during the pandemic, I actually founded the Cannabis Business Alliance, so.
Yeah. And, with the one thing I love about your mission with the Cannabis Business Alliance is you state that you believe there are plenty of opportunities for ancillary businesses to support plant touching cannabis businesses. Can you share a little bit more like tips or suggestions on that and why that is important to you?
Well, it's an emerging industry. So for someone like me who is older, who has had a traditional work life, to be perfectly honest, it was important for me as I aged to find a place to bring my skills in a creative way to an emerging industry that's also important as a service to humanity, generally speaking. And so, one of my skills is the ability to translate difficult information. And I feel that inside the cannabis space, a lot of us are only talking to other people in the choir. So I am very much interested in getting that information down to people who are community leaders, because as we learned during COVID, a lot of what needs to reach the masses depends upon who the messenger is, so.
So true. That is true. Now, why is, building community around this important to you? And is there a community that I know you stated that you're you're more known with the Canna Boomer, but are you building a community around that as well for others?
I definitely am working on that. It's very difficult to do that the challenge has been finding a platform that will distribute this conversation that is not necessarily a cannabis platform, because in order to reach a broader audience, we need other platforms. We need to really get somewhere where there is an intersection of health and wellness, so that people who are interested, Canna Boomers in particular, about not just enjoyment, but addressing physical problems, have a way to talk about that in an open way rather than quote unquote asking for a friend.
Yeah. Well, this one question that I just have more personal is, I've already had that talk with my parents. They are, they're around cannabis, but what about those that, are tuning in, they're not in the cannabis industry, and they are curious of how can they maybe have this conversation with their parents or grandparents on the benefits of cannabis? Do you have any tips to just starting that conversation?
Well, yes. The biggest tip is don't use your own experience as the model for how they should go about it. I think that one of the things that I experienced personally when I first entered the industry about 4 years ago was I felt some trepidation about being with people who are my son's age, primarily. Those were the people who were in the industry, not because of my age, but because I felt pressure about, hitting a bowl. I don't hit bowls. So I just socially was a little bit awkward on a bus being transported to an event when I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't really want to be square. At some point, I felt like I was 17 years old all over again. So over time, I have found my place. And I think that canna boomers or new people, regardless of the age, should be free to experience the plant in their own way. I don't think the pressure of, one idea of what normalization is. I think that because we've come from one end of the spectrum, we're already at another end. So normalization is simply hitting a blunt. I think that's a narrow definition of normalization. And so if we in the industry open that up a little bit, I think there'll be more space for other people to feel comfortable joining in conversations where maybe exactly what's happening in someone else's life is not happening in theirs.
No, you bring up some great points. And I think, now as things are progressing, we are starting to see, even more unique events around that. You can find different events or workshops or educational experiences that can cater to, and it does not an age, it doesn't have to be an age specification, as you
No,
said. It could
not
be
at
more of
all.
an activity based. It could be more
Sure.
something that brings you in to attract you. It doesn't have to be a sesh or a festival. There are so many ways that they can still, get that connection, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, today we're here coming together for our brothers and sisters in Humboldt, who were impacted by the fires that just did destroy so many homes and businesses. So from your perspective, why is it important that we come together nationally for this?
Well, I think the primary idea behind my having founded the Cannabis Business Alliance was really to increase pathways to participation for people who wanted to be in the industry. And so I think that a national conversation about community building, the importance of collaborative participation, it costs me nothing to amplify the message of Humboldt Grace. If I can spread that message to a larger audience who will help the farmers there, I mean, this is what life is really about. This is what the plant is about. This is what the plant used to be about when I was a teenager. It really was puff, puff, pass. So I think that this is something we all should be buying into. I think that partnerships, shared knowledge, amplification of experiences. This is how we can change the world and help each other.
Yes. Oh, such good advice. And I did look at your website previously before reconnecting with you through this event. But I also touched back in with your website, and there is so much great information that you're sharing for anyone really. But if anybody's interested, it's patriciapatton.com to check it out for more content and educational content, and even learn a little bit more about you, correct? Anything? Yeah. Any final words you would like to share with those tuning in?
Yes, I would like to invite any solopreneurs or small business owners who are interested in joining a community of business holders in the ancillary business owners in the cannabis supply chain to come and join us at cannabisbusinessalliances.com. We're launching this week, and we'd love to be in community with you.
Love that. And just final words. Do you have your eyes on any specific item on the auction today?
Listen, I'm an old tourism professional. I worked for the Belgian government in New York City for almost 20 years. $300, $400 to go to Jamaica for 4 days? Like, this is a steal. You guys got to get on it. Yeah.
Yes, we do. Well, thank you again, Patricia. We enjoyed having you here, and we appreciate your time and support.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patricia.
My pleasure, Leila.
To think back to those days and to see where it's come to now, where there's all these folks coming in from everywhere, popping up greenies and establishing their businesses and, choosing the strains and getting them out there and making them popular. It's like, on some level, I feel like it's kind of gotten out of our hands that way for sure. They'll never take away from the history here because you can't.
Right.
But I mean, corporate America is doing its best to hone in on us, you know, and the money that's involved with it.
Right, but that's where our culture's at right now. Is they haven't dealt with a culture like us in the fight that we've had to do. And it's like when we moved to Humboldt, we weren't born here, but we chose to like stick a flag up and tell them to fuck off, and we'll fight camp and grow weed on the hillside in the Mattole Valley or wherever the fuck we want. Like you said, you know, they would come every day, helicopters, and they would stop at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock and go home.
Yeah.
And then they'd come back to the exact same spot.
All right. Well, that was an interview by Michael on Royal Grown Radio with one of our upcoming guests, Rob Golightly, who's also a part of this Humboldt Grace community. Well, that was great. Where I lost Adelia. There's Mike. All right. Someone's helping out here. I want to pop us back in real quick before we move on to Mike. Do we have Adam and Cara on yet?
Well, it looks like we're just a minute behind. Adam is getting into the chat room, but we're really excited to have this conversation. This is one of the most exciting parts of the day because it's new to me to speak with Cara Cordoni of, you know, she's CEO of Minerva Minded, director and cast member of Trim Women in Cannabis, and also Adam Ross, director of Trim and Women in Cannabis. So I'm really excited to dig into what their contributions are, their perspective on exactly what we're dealing with today and how we can raise awareness as a community, grow the community, strengthen each other, and ultimately today get people onto this Humboldt Grace Fire Project auction, get in there, make those bids, support this community in every way you can. And then, you know, after this, we come together and continue to build this community and find new ways to contribute and grow together.
So I want to show a quick clip. We've got more clips we'll show throughout the day, but of the movie that we're talking about, we are going to be also hosting a live first time screening of that movie this spring here in Humboldt County. But while we're getting Adam and Cara on, let's show the folks a little bit about what we're talking about.
I have been a midwife in this community for 40 years. Vagina is after the uterus. Just you're coming through this dark canal and there's light and you cannot miss that light. And that's where we are. We're in the vagina of the cannabis movement.
Thank you all for coming to these awards. Now go out and smoke some.
Well, that was fantastic. I really enjoyed that soundtrack. Welcome, Cara. I'm very excited to introduce you, Cara Cordoni and Adam Ross. Thank you both for being here. Huge contributors to the community. I appreciate it. As somebody who's been out here in Humboldt for over 20 years and in the cannabis industry much longer, it was often a very unsung role that women in cannabis played, but very, very much a part of it, you know. Especially here in Humboldt, a lot of what I saw was men out there doing the hustle, out in the mix of things, and the women quietly behind the scenes doing just as much or more to support and create a platform to do what they were doing, to cultivate the best cannabis and create a community, and they were the glue. So it's really inspiring to me to see more celebration and emergence of these women coming forward in higher and higher profile roles and showing us all how important it is to have that influence in the community. So thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about the project.
Well, okay, let's see. Trim Women in Cannabis has been a long time in the making. I'm kind of known for Cash Crop, which was a Netflix hit for about 8 years, where we had a fake movie title. Started filming in 2007, filmed 2 or 3 years, had to take our batteries out of our cell phones and all this, and we covered all of California from the Mexican border where things used to come in to a kind of a nautilus journey up kind of a jewel in the Nile, or going up river. I called it To the Heart of Lightness instead of the Heart of Darkness. And you're really kind of I have found it moment of the film was the way Cash Crop was shaped. And during that time, I had been filming women all along, but there was such great risk from CPS and things like that, that not only growers letting me in, risking their livelihood and exposing their family and their whole situation and their growth to me, but I couldn't risk putting a lot of women on camera. But I continuously filmed from 2007 to the present, and I'm still filming what now has amounted to 4 called the Cannabis Chronicles. And the second one, which is in sneak preview and which will also be part of the fire recovery fundraiser through Humboldt Grace, and also national things that will bring up the profile of home, specifically Humboldt Grace. But yeah, my interest was, I saw this thing grow, and it became kind of, at one point I had one of those stoner hikes where I had that epiphany of, oh my God, I had the title. And maybe it was in recollection of something, Russian group, Pussy Riot or something. But I just said, oh my God, all the women started out as trimmers. And now, at that point in 2017, when the United States had American women CEOs were only 2.5%, cannabis had 37%. Now it's declined since then substantially, but still, I saw over the years of filming Cash Crop, one of the things I fell in love with. I've lived abroad many years. My background is as a touring musician and all that from the age of 19, and not particularly nationalistic, but the thing I'm very patriotic about is that you folks up there and in the state of California really now grow the best weed in the world. And it's something I'm proud of, but not just the weed, but as I tell people who see these films, yeah, it's about the weed, the people, and it's about you all. And when through Kara, I met Lele and connected, it was like divine intervention in terms of the whole concept of Humboldt Grace, what they do. Very much recalled to me when I first met Tim Blake and having an Area 101 debates for the district attorney and county sheriff, the way the cannabis community were so solid, and I felt had really, ironically, this counterculture had American values that we cherish, were found in this very community. And myself, as I describe myself, as you know, a humanist, environmentalist, and really by default, also you have to be a feminist because you can't have the, you know, one without the other. And you know, my films started coming from a music background, started a soundtrack to a Vietnam-based film to after 9/11, seeing if I can go back to my native New York. It was a film called Between the Bridges, which is an award-winning film about gentrification in an artist community on the Brooklyn waterfront. And subsequently, I filmed the Brooklyn series is at Erasmus High School, which is Barbara Streisand and Clive Davis's high school that through the crack epidemic is now 90% gangbangers and a whole different scene, and it's getting turned around by the Caribbean immigration. So that one's about immigration and education. And at the same time, I was filming Cash Crops. I'm flying back and forth with weed on my boots going into high school. But Trim has been a joy. It's been filmed from 2017 to the present. So it has a lot of vignettes, a lot of little characters, and I jokingly say that Kara pops up often as kind of Where's Waldo, because I will see her in Oakland, I will see her in Denver, I will see her all over the place. And maybe one of the upcoming teasers, you'll show something that's also portrayed in the film that's a great lyric she put to a famous kind of rawhide theme. But yeah, that's, you know, my background is really a guerrilla filmmaker moving into kind of alternative in those regards. I'm not part of the kind of Hollywood establishment as much. But yeah, it's great to do this for my friends. And I have people in Europe watching this now. And there's a whole thing going down with Germany's looking with their new Green Party and Social Democratic Party of legalizing eventually this year. So they want to know what we're all up to. And there's some watching you guys now. So this is really, we've planted seeds. And I'm really, like we all are this spring, excited to watch them and see Humboldt Grace grow, and my friends in Humboldt keep the price of their pounds up, and their brand get known for the quality is and the quality of the people who've become my friends.
That's so absolutely amazing, Adam. Thank you so much for that kind of in-depth view. And I think it's so important what you're doing, sharing the stories of the past to shape the future. And that's a big part of, I think, what all of us here are trying to do out of the Emerald Triangle community, is to say, hey, we've been doing this for 20, 30, 40, 60 years. Take a look at what has made this community thrive, what has created the strength around it and allowed the survival to get us to this point and to be such a vocal power in the change that's affecting the entire world currently in legislation. And we have to celebrate these voices. We have to let ourselves be heard. And we want you at home to be heard. Get involved, get out into your local, meetings of, boards of supervisors, etc., local government, and advocate to support small scale organic community farming initiatives, and to allow people with these businesses and these histories to thrive, as opposed to being taken over by this large corporate male dominated culture that has really been kind of the whole point of the cannabis community fighting against it for the last 60 plus years. So speaking of, where's Karako hiding in these videos? Tell us a little bit about your involvement and, all of the power of the group of women that you've been involved with, facilitating so much change for our community.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to be in the Bay Area and to start working in 2015. We were doing it for a consulting firm in Oakland, and we started a monthly Friday gathering at Lake Merritt, and it became really just an amazing collection of activists, lawyers, consumers. It was just a public consumption outdoor party. And I think that's where I first met Adam. He came and was filming. So there's a couple clips from that. And then we went to Denver when Women Grow had a huge gathering at the I think is it the courthouse? It was
the Denver Opera House.
The Denver Opera House, yeah.
2016, February.
And so that was like a really interesting moment, because there was kind of the upswell of like professionals coming in, and it was kind of not quite the corporatization that I think we see as things are moving along, but it was like this rush of enthusiasm and opportunity. And so there's scientists and performers. Melissa Etheridge was there. And so there's a clip of me there at one point, incredibly high, and singing this 1-minute anthem that I'm really passionate about, that hopefully we'll show that clip in a moment. And so I've had my hands in the industry, or been whatever, a stoner since 14, off and on, so many years. I did some smuggling back in my college days. Had a small indoor grow during 2015 in San Francisco, did some distribution. I was slinging pounds while pregnant in San Francisco. And then I have since then, in 2016, actually moved up to Humboldt because I saw legalization coming here and was really concerned about our small outdoor organic farms and families. And Most recently worked with Cooperation Humboldt to create the Cooperative Cannabis Economy Group, where we're literally teaching cooperative skills and cooperative development to groups of farmers that want to figure out how working together is going to give them an advantage. And you know, part of it is that I'm passionate about the film is that it's, you know, it's very uplifting, and I think it is a great like marketing piece for people to be like, wow, look at these cool women, these cool farms. I'm going to go into the dispensary and ask for some outdoor organic from Humboldt. And that's what we need these days, right? We really need people to understand that outdoor, organic, sun-grown soil, like you taste that, it changes your medicine, it changes your experience. And this film, I feel, is like an amazing tool to help communicate that across the world, to serve, again, all of these farmers who, like, we wouldn't be here without, you know, the folks that endured camp, without the folks that were like, yeah, I'm willing to be an outlaw and take these risks. And so that's again also the fire recovery. Why bid on an auction item? Because not only do you get a cool thing, but you're literally keeping our community alive. And we thank you for that.
Yeah, it's another great opportunity to vote with your dollars. You're going to spend your dollars on these things out there in the world anyway. What better way to let your voice be heard through supporting the community? Go out there, smash the button, make the bid, and you know, you're giving money for things that have already kind of come through this channel to support the community. These were donated, these were created to support this community. I think it's so important to facilitate each other's support. And that's one thing that I learned from moving to Humboldt and being in this community is if we take that extra little bit of effort to look closer at who you're supporting, when you're spending that dollar you're going to spend anyway, those choices do make a difference. And it is all about supporting that sun-grown, rootsy, sustainable cannabis that brought so many people here to spread this vibe. You know, people like Crystal Ortiz from Urban Market and, you know, Sunshine and all these dry farmers down in Shively and along the basins of the Eel River in Humboldt County. And you're supporting these super niche communities and women farmers who are out there spreading this information. So I'm just blown away by what you've all accomplished with this film, and I can't wait to get a closer look at it myself.
Let's cut to that clip. I think we've got it queued up of that 1 minute song. Here we go. Rolling, 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 keep them doobies rolling, floating where everything goes better when people smoke together, sharing and laughing, feeling fine. All the good we're missing under federal prohibition, wishing they'd let my friends outside. Let them out, let them vote, let them work, let them toke, let them play, let them say we're high. We're high.
That was incredible. Thank you.
Thanks. I will say the screenings, we're going to have them up here in Arcata. Watch the Humboldt Grace site. We're not sure on the date yet. It's been a dance with COVID, Memorial Day, all the things. But we'll be landing the dates for live screenings with some gathering. So please, yeah, and as we said, Adam has donated those screenings, which will be the first, you know, public, private, you know, invitation screenings to the Humboldt Grace Fire Recovery. So that's like super special.
Yeah, I might have failed to mention that, you know, I have a special kind of empathy for growers and people who were burnt out in the fires, because in 2018, November fires, Southern California, I lost my home on a 20-acre organic farm, everything I own. But at 10 to 7 in the morning, made it out with these two 15 terabyte hard drives with most of these films on it. So somebody was watching over something, but I know what it's like to go through that loss.
For real. And one of the other pieces I think that's really unique in how Adams, we're working on rolling the film at is really to leverage it in local communities. So, he had a film on Netflix for 8 years. He's got the connections. He's in LA. Instead of going straight to streaming, we really want to build a groundswell, support the women in the film. Sunshine Johnson, as you mentioned, she's in the film, among many, many other amazing individuals. And so, we want to do these screenings where we can bring community together, raise funds for a good cause, and build that groundswell before we look at, Adam looks at, what would be the best way to get it out globally.
Great. Yeah. Basically, my perspective on it is simply that it's a women's empowerment film is really what it is through cannabis and showing that connective tissue to what you're rolling up right there. And the model for getting it out, just like your guys' new models for sustaining yourselves and getting this thing going. Most artists, you sell a painting at a gallery, the gallery gets half your money. My attitude was like, fuck that, I'll give half of it away. And I'd like to give it to, walk the walk and women supportive nonprofits. So that's how I'm rolling with this. And I'm just most concerned with anybody who would want to see this film and could use it for good purpose, for women's empowerment and for all the associated cannabis people empowerment is what it's about. I'll get to the broader masses in the public later. We'll build it and they will come. So I'm not worried about that part. This is my focus.
I think it's so incredible that you've come together to bring together decades of experience and wisdom to elevate both of these platforms at the same time. And personally, I can say as somebody who's never been affected by a fire that this project means so much to those that have. And it's really hard to ever even imagine what folks like yourself have gone through who have actually dealt with losing everything or even just something to the fire, even to fleeing and coming home and having your home there, that you're never the same person after an experience like that. So again, get out, hit those bid items, people. It's so super duper important, and find other ways to support this community.
Absolutely. 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 And, I always say the same thing, but, I am as an environmentalist, just looking at our whole, this subculture we're all in and how the dominant culture can learn so much. And we're not going to survive by evolving wings or talons or tails. How we are going to evolve is in our consciousness. And what we celebrate with this female plant and our own pursuits aligns with this. And, peace and health, prosperity, and our connection with the planet.
Absolutely incredible. And what better vehicle for evolving that consciousness than cannabis and sharing it together?
Through communities. Absolutely.
Nice. I wanted to pop in and say at the end here that one of the things that attracted me to Adam's film is that there's over 200 women in it. It's really a collection of female experiences and perspectives through this industry. And we are all so diverse, and this plant is so diverse. And this film shows that, and I really appreciated that. Thanks, Cara and Adam, for coming on, and thank you, Adam, for donating the film, the screen, to the foundation the way you have, and for allowing Cara and I to build this butterfly effect that we see in taking it into other cities and empowering other organizations and women the way you're allowing us to. So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
All right, I want to show one more clip And then we'll move on. Thank you so much, you guys. And everyone, please go to the bidding. I put these QR codes on here so you guys can just throw your phone on the screen. There's so many amazing items. We're going to go through some more. Michael and I will after this clip.
Phoenix, Arizona. Garberville, California. Denver. Maui. Humboldt County. Pacific Palisades, California.
Carefree, Arizona. Ashland, Oregon. Chicago, Illinois.
Seattle, Washington.
Nashville, Tennessee, baby.
With the Arizona Cannabis Nurses Association, we're the ones responsible for getting PTSD added in the state of Arizona, and we're now working to get Parkinson's disease, Huntington's disease, traumatic brain injury, autism, and several other conditions added as well. Let me taste it. This is J1.
I love that with Heather Manis at the end going, this is J1, just like a lady who knows her weed. Adelia, are you with us?
Yes,
there you
I'm
are.
Hello, Adelia.
Hello. You know, one thing I don't think we mentioned is all the different platforms we're streaming from today. We're everywhere right now, right? We're on Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and then on multiple Facebook pages as well, right?
Yes, we are. We have managed to have some amazing folks support us on all their platforms. We've got the Future Cannabis Project on their YouTube. We've got Cannaboomer, Cannabis Business Alliance, Royal Grown Radio is shooting this out here. You are on Event High. I am on Humboldt Grace. Ethica Data Alliance is streaming this. On my screen right now, it says it's out on 10 different channels.
Wow. That's huge.
Amazing.
I know, that is so cool. Huh?
All different types of groups too. So all different types of people are tuning in right now from all over. That's exciting.
Yes. We took the old school work in the back road system and we're putting it into the digital era. This is how the cannabis industry was built originally, is we had to figure out how to make it work with what we had. And that's what we're doing here.
Yeah, big shout out to Future Cannabis Project and Peter Servieri. What great stewards of the industry, sharing information and sharing the voices of the people in the community. What a great platform that they're hosting. So thanks for sharing us there as well.
So while unfortunately our next guest, Wendy Edge, is ill, you know, a lot of us are patients, myself included. So I can definitely empathize with that. And we just have to keep going with the flow. So I would love to take a few minutes, one, to thank all of you watching and tuning in, and Adelia, you and Michael for spending your Sundays doing this to raise funds for our community. And Kat back there making my life way easier, you know.
Thanks, Kat.
Yeah. You know, we've done a few of these productions and this has been the smoothest, easiest one, Adelia, don't you think? Because we've had all this support. It's just, it's been a potluck production.
Definitely. It all came together so well.
It worked, and I think it's working well. Well, I would like to show the audience a few more items, and I would love to know, Adelia and Michael, what do you see? Have you taken a look at the auction, and what do you see that you think is really interesting on there? We can show it now.
Well, the one I'm looking at right now is actually from Wendy. It's her Blue Dream, her artwork.
Oh,
piece.
Let's find it. Yes.
Yeah. So it's a blue dream. It's a depiction of the artist's mental and physical state while medicating with the cannabis strain Blue Dream. So it's a huge canvas, 18 by 24. It includes organic Arkansas hemp and acrylic paint. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? And if you can see, I don't know if you guys can see this, but on my computer, you can see how there's all this texture to it from the hemp. And it is hemp, folks. I asked her, so nobody will get in trouble us shipping this to you. But it's a beautiful piece. And if you guys haven't, if you don't know who Wendy Edge is, you have to tune in. She's got a show on multiple networks. She's streaming on this network. She's also one of the reasons that we get to reproduce this for public television in Texas and in another state, I think Chicago. But she is a great activist of this plant and does some amazing interviews. So please go check her out. And Bid, this is an amazing piece of work. All right. How about something else? Call out something else. That was fun.
So one thing that I've been seeing on here is you have a lot of very small businesses contributing, relatively significant things for them. One that I noticed is the Kiskanu CBD products bundle. This is a tiny business that really, they farm all of their own cannabis. They do a great job. They have, estate grown, top quality products and some of the most amazing beauty products out there. And their value here at $290 for that bundle, their face oil, is the next level. That's a really, really cool prize package and something that you can get way below market value right now at $52. Get in there and smash that bid because they can't make that for $52. So, people out there giving these products from very slim lined businesses with, who are fighting to survive right now. These are the people that we want to support through this. These are the people that we want to keep in the community supporting each other. So that was a really significant item to me to see on there.
Really good point, Michael. I actually use their items. And they are made local and they are made with the finest ingredients. But they've also done something else. Gretchen and Jason have also managed to break through and gotten on the shelves of Nordstrom's and other stores like that. So they are proof that we as curators of this plant and of, craft can break through to that next level. We don't have to change our ways to get there.
And Gretchen is another great woman in cannabis. And I encourage you to seek what she's contributing to the community out. She's involved with Humboldt Grace, involved with so many other women in cannabis projects out there, being a boss lady, being the CEO, being involved in the everyday business. And it's just inspirational to see these communities come together. And this is another opportunity for me to thank all of the women here who have brought me in to be involved. I feel like an outlier in the group as the only male here conducting interviews and special to be included and invited into such a, awe-inspiring group of women. So, thank you for that, for all of you.
Thank you, Michael.
Yes.
So I wanted to put this one up because I believe our next guest is we have two badass women. And the first one I want to talk about is Nicole Fryer. She is one of the owners and developers of the Social Spa, which is an all consumption spa in Humboldt County. And there's the Scotia Lodge, which is also a place which I think, here you go, you can stay at. And they've offered a night stay for two with a couples massage. And Nicole is going to be on here in just a few to talk more about what she's doing and what fun it is to come visit Humboldt County. And then another woman that we have coming up at the same time with Nicole is Season George. And what you're looking at right now is Season has a farm, Five Sisters Farm, and they do glamping. And she has also offered glamping stays you can bid on. And here's a little look of what it would look like. I love this bathtub. I grew up with outdoor baths, and I just love this bathtub. I want the bath. I want to go. I know. Yes. I just take a bath.
Well, one comment I'm seeing here is going back to the first item is Scotia Lodge is a consumption friendly hotel as well. So that's a great thing to know. They're consumption friendly for those.
Good to know. Good to know. Do we have our next guest on yet, you guys? Or do we have Nicole and Season? And Matt, we do,
Matt.
but Nicole, let's see. Kat, I know you can hear me, but I have you on 2 screens, and I just got a note that someone can't get on, and I'm wondering if that's Nicole.
Okay, I know Matt is here, and so let's see. Let me see if I get myself off a screen if that works.
Thanks again, Kat, for navigating this wild web of technology to make this all happen.
Keeping us all together.
Such a joy. Such a joy.
Perfect. It looks like Nicole's on her way.
All right. Let's give her a minute. I'm going to show a video, and this is a little more of the fires. I don't think I've shown this one yet, or have I? You know, that was those were some clips of Booney Acres, and they really, it was pretty incredible. I haven't, from what I saw, their farm got really close, and they really had to rally, and it was amazing because these communities are all so far apart, and you could see Duncan about an hour and a half from Booney, and then you could see like Bosch in Willow Creek, and they were literally using social media to communicate and activate. It was, in fact, Duncan was at a point where he was dealing, he told me this story, so I'm repeating the story. But he was at a point where he really couldn't get anything going on, and the communication happening, they were able to do Facebook, and the communication happening actually helped them navigate the direction of a fire was happening, because it was just so crazy going on, which is really shows how we can, we all say we hate, especially coming from the back of the land movement, the technologies and all this stuff. But as we're going to hear later on in the show, these technologies can be used to empower those things. And this fire, I saw the beauty of social media. It was just like, people were able to communicate in live time, respond, and see what's going on. In these rural communities, it was a big deal. So I think we have all our next guests on. Is that what I'm seeing?
I believe so. Yeah. So yep.
Bring them up to the screen, and I'll get my face off the screen.
All right. Well, I am excited to have each of you joining us. So we have Matt Kurth from Humboldt Cannabis Tours, Nicole Fryer, the spa director for Humboldt Social, and we have Season George from Five Sisters Farm. Now, if you could, I have a couple, this is a one question that I want each of you to ask, and then I have a separate question for each of you. So just a quick verbiage of who you are, what you do in the community, and the importance of Emerald Triangle to you. And what we'll do is, I believe it is Susan. Is that Season? No, Season's down. Sorry, the names are off right now. I can't see. So
Hi,
yes,
yep.
If you can please go. Sorry.
I'm Season George. I'm owner and cultivator at Five Sisters Farm. We are located at the Humboldt County line on the Highway 101. We have a very small cultivation license, and we have added tourism to that in order to supplement that space and maximize the what I can do with that space. And it's been for about 3 years with the tourism thing, and it's been a really great way to keep my finger on the pulse of what's happening with the consumer, and educate them on how to find sun-grown in the dispensary. I'm Dragonfly Earth Medicine certified and Sun and Earth certified. So those programs have been a really great way to do outreach. Perfect. It's great to work with Matt. Matt's been one of my first supporters for sure. And now Nicole, it's good to see you guys.
Hey. Let's go down to Matt, and then we'll go to Nicole right after.
Hi, everybody. I'm Matt from Humboldt Cannabis Tours, and I started Humboldt Cannabis Tours in 2015. And yeah, we do tours to working cannabis farms. So we kind of start at my office, and we drive out and we visit awesome farms like Seasons Farms, and we talk to the farmers and we learn all about the plants. And it's really focused on education and learning and building relationships with the plant and the farmers who grow it. What was the other question? Why the Emerald Triangle?
The importance of Emerald Triangle, the importance of building attention to Emerald Triangle.
Well, for me, I think it's really important. I think we have we have a different way of living here. We have a different way of making food, and we have a different way of relating to each other, a different way of like relating to the earth that I think is more sustainable in the long term, like just in the larger society. And we can share that with people. Like, for example, Season does this awesome stuff called Humboldt culture, which is really cool way of gardening with the earth. But we can, through cannabis, we can like share that with other people, because a lot of people learn about sustainability through cannabis. Like, I know a lot of people who started growing weed in a closet, and then 10 years later, they're doing Humboldt cultures and KNF and all this stuff. I think we can share that with the world.
Love that. And Nicole.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole. I am the owner of the Social Spas. It's one of the first day spas and a consumption lounge where we can actually apply THC as a topical. So that's really exciting. I'm also working with Matt Kurth, and Season is one of our farmers, but Matt and I, we have developed a 3-day cannabis experience here in Humboldt County. So we're really excited about that Humboldt holiday. I thought it was really important. There was definitely a need for tourism here in Humboldt County. And I think that being able to present it to the world the way that we live and not through someone else's eyes, and really be able to, highlight our community and all of the different brands and partners that we've been working with. And I'm just super excited to be able to show that.
Well, thank all three of you for being here. And I love the collaboration. That's really how we continue to support each other. I mean, it's incorporated. You all have done this for generations, and just seeing it and incorporating it into the industry and the community continuing forward is great and huge. Season. So at Five Sisters Farms, you've created a whole experience to really engage and showcase the beauty of Emerald Triangle. What can people expect when visiting your farm, and why did you choose to incorporate more of a personal educational approach?
With the Dragonfly Earth Medicine certification, community outreach is a requirement. I also have a background in garden education through my work with a nonprofit Mayan Garden Project back in early 2000s. So using a garden as a tool, as a gathering space, as a hub is something that's really familiar to me. And I knew I was kind of at a hot spot location on the highway here. I'm in between two festival sites where Reggae on the River happened, a cannabis tourism mecca for for decades. And so I really wanted to, and as I saw the things changing around me, a big corporation moved in next door, Reggae on the River, a grassroots organization, nonprofit, kind of subsided, and a for-profit, thing kind of popped up. And so I really wanted to just be in the middle of that and like hold a space of the ways of just simple gardening, just really just show that like one person can do it. Here I'm a 100% owner. I'm the cultivator. I'm the curator. When people come to Five Sisters Farm, they meet me, they see me, doing what I do. And it's just really authentic. And I know that other garden tours or, facility tours, they see greenhouses, they see, warehouses, but not very many places can you come and just see like big plants like it was back in the day. So I hope to kind of preserve that old way of growing and let people just be with the plant. It's really simple. A lot of people are using cannabis these days and they don't smoke flower. they consume it in a way that's like a soda or a sublingual, and they don't have a connection with the actual flower itself. So being with the plant, a place to be with source, something as gentle and as as simple as that, it can make a really big impact. And I just really, I value Matt's business a lot. These types of relationships, and Nicole promoting me, it's really a big deal.
It is.
I'd like to be that a success and collaboration.
Well, and you actually did donate a 2-night farm stay at your farm at Five Sisters Farms. And a little bit more insight into your farm. It's organic, sustainable, regenerative cannabis. You offer the tours, camping, and education. Right now, I mean, this is valued at $310. This is a still right now of what people are, it's currently $87. So I would say people need to start making their bids right away. And thank you for donating that. The next question will go to Nicole. Nicole, can you share a bit more about Humboldt Social and the experiences you all provide for your guests? It sounds like there's a huge component, again, too, around education and showing them the beauty of Emerald Triangle as a whole. Yeah.
So yeah, Humboldt Social, we really try to emphasize normalizing cannabis and being transparent about what we're doing, and normalizing it in a way where we use it in a daily, on topicals in your food. You can smoke it, you can drink it, but also just providing a space where people can come and experience cannabis and talk about it with people who are educated and people that really want to, just know about the plant.
Now, and then you also you also donated an item Lele was just speaking about as well. And so I'm going to pull that up really quick and just go over, if I can pull it up quick enough. And while I'm pulling that up, I actually had a second question for you. Why is keeping the culture alive so important for the cannabis community?
I think that it's really important. This is a whole thing up here. It's a whole vibe. There's generations that have, came here. And I think that it's really important that we highlight that. It's not just about corporate. This is about people. This is a brand. These are faces. These are families. This is really their livelihood. And this is what they do. They came here to be able to live a life that was fulfilling for them. And I think what's happening now is that it's just becoming it's out of their hands. And it's really important that we really try to, highlight that and just really cultivate it and make sure we keep it as our own.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And then we have, if this is coming up correctly, yours is the 1-night stay, correct? At the
Yes.
Scotia Lounge. And you also incorporated a couples massage with that as well.
Yes.
So they're getting a full experience.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yes. And so that current bid is $200 right now. The Scotia Lodge is a 100-year hotel located by the northern entrance to the Avenue of the Giants in Northern California. This is a intimate, very intimate, beautiful location. There's 22 rooms and suites. You also have a kitchen and bar and event spaces. So there's so much that can happen at your location.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of activity. It's also still, we can also do cannabis consumption on site, and we also have cannabis delivery. So that's really exciting. So yeah, lots of activities.
Well, thank you for that. And now, Matt, so at Humboldt Cannabis Tours, you are bringing out tourists and travelers on tours throughout Humboldt. Why was creating this business an important component for you and for the community?
So I think, Humboldt has a lot to share with the rest of the world. Like, my goal is if I can make the rest of the world like a tiny bit, a little bit more like Humboldt is the place I love, that would be awesome. So it's all about kind of spreading Humboldt around to the rest of the world and kind of showing people there's a different way to live. A lot of people, they kind of feel, a lot of my guests, a lot of people that come to on my tours, they feel like they're locked into their lives, like down in the city, kind of in the rat race. And a lot of people don't see an alternative to that. And that is disheartening. And I think coming to Humboldt, it shows that like there's another way to live life. Like we can be interconnected. We can have a community. We can produce our own food and our own beer and our own weed and our own medicine. And we can take care of ourselves, and we can make our own, we can set our own norms. We can do things the way we want to do them. We can raise our own kids, and we can build our own radio station, and we can have our own music festivals. And I think just sharing that with other people, like that's possible. Like we're one of the last places kind of in the United States. Like there's not many places you can think of where there's communities that still provide an example of like a self-sustaining, self-governed community. There's not a lot of places you can see that. So my larger hope is to spread that around to people. And like the secret is through cannabis. So cannabis is like the bait. Like if I'm fishing for people, like cannabis is the bait that gets them to come in, and I spring the trap on them, which is our community and how awesome it is. And how like why isn't every community like this? You know, like why don't we all run our own communities? Why don't we all make our own decisions? Like why don't we all participate in our own food supply? You know, it's possible. It's an alternate possibility. We can do it.
Where's the Yeah, exactly. No, you bring up a huge point. I mean, comment even right now, you know, half of us probably in other areas in, you know, more populated, or not populated, but let's say I'm in Arizona. So most of our neighbors don't know each other. Whereas that's completely different over there. I remember growing up, you would know your neighbors, you know, you would go to their houses, like little things like that. That's gone down the drain. It doesn't really happen anymore in the metropolitan areas, unfortunately. So I think you bring up a good point. What is the farthest a guest has come to you to experience one of these Humboldt cannabis tours?
Yeah, I've had people from all 6 continents. Well, every continent except Antarctica. Yet. Okay. I'm waiting for Antarctica. Yeah, so people have come from, everywhere. Africa, from Malawi and Senegal, and Egypt, and Italy, and the UK, and Germany, Uruguay, Colombia, New Zealand, Philippines, Japan. I'd like to get some folks from China out here. I'm really looking for some folks from China. It's harder for them to do the cannabis thing. They have some more restrictions. But yeah, people come from all over the world. And all over the country too. And we have something unique here. We have something that they don't have, that we don't have other places. And now, for the first time ever, we want to share it with people. Before, we didn't want to share it, or we couldn't share it with people in the way we wanted to. But now, for the first time ever, we want to welcome people from all over to come experience that.
Thank you for sharing that. Now, and you also donated a Humboldt Cannabis Tours half day. So this is for 2. What can people expect with that?
Yeah, so we start the tour at our office in Eureka, and then we get in our nice shiny van, and we drive out to a working cannabis farm, like Seasons Farm, and we talk all the way down there about the regulations and the science, and just all kinds of stuff, the history of Humboldt and why Humboldt became Humboldt. A lot of people have that question, like why? A lot of people know Humboldt, but a lot of people say, why? How did Humboldt become Humboldt? Why is Humboldt Humboldt? So we talk about that all the way down there, and then we get to the farm. We're greeted by the farmer, and they come out and meet us, which is always the highlight, is the farmer. And then the farmer shows us around the farm, and we answer questions and talk about what's going on at the farm at that time of the year. We see the plants, we smell the plants, and we spend about an hour and a half at the farm. And then we get back in the van, and then we visit a dispensary where usually we can buy that farmer's product or other local Humboldt products. And then we head on back to our office in Eureka. So that's the half-day tour. And then the awesome tour that I'm working on with Nicole in season is the Humboldt Holiday Tour, which is a 3-day all-inclusive tour with all the accommodations and spa treatments and spa visits and wine tasting and food, delicious local food, all included. So the half day is really awesome. I'm really happy to offer that in the option. And that's a great thing to do because you can do redwoods and stuff in the other time. But if you want a big experience, I'm really excited about the Humboldt Holiday that we have coming up.
Yeah. Season, is there anything you'd like to add about that special collaboration from your side of it?
For me, it was a big relief to have Nicole put this together because, you know, like I said, I'm the farmer. it's open up this space, but it's a whole new skill to be in the hospitality industry on top of farming. And so Matt's been a support, but then to have Nicole do this outreach, it makes it's a farther reach, because the people who book with me and who want to come, they are already into regenerative farming. There's somebody who wants to camp here, but somebody who's going to have a luxury tour, that's a demographic I may not be able to reach. And so it makes a big difference. And I mean, here's a great example of women supporting women. And, that's something I want to live by. So it's great. And Matt too. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, well, thank you all, and for sharing, a bit about each of what you do, and two, for all three of you donating such amazing items. For those that actually want to experience it, and sorry, what was the actual name of the one that's with all three of you? It had a good name to it.
Humboldt Holiday.
Humboldt Holiday. Okay. And if anybody wanted to grab, experience that, would they contact you, Nicole, or would they go to Matt, Humboldt Cannabis Tours?
They can actually go to Humboldt Holiday at Instagram. We also have Humboldt Holiday Tours at Gmail for any inquiries, and we will certainly get back to them ASAP. We're really excited to roll this out and share the community with everybody.
Also, very soon, very soon we're gonna have a website that'll be it's HumboldtHoliday.com. We just don't have the website built. We're gonna kind of the big official release for that is going to be in a couple of weeks, and then we'll have the website up and all that. But there's more information to come on the Humboldt Holiday.
Perfect. We'll share that with all of us. I know with Lele, and she'll pass the word on to us, and we'll share it with our networks as well. I think it'll be a great experience for anyone that joins that and participates. And Lele, thank you for joining.
Thank you, all of you. I want to go on the Humboldt Holiday. I want to, as we end with the beginning of the rally, we showed a little bit of what Matt's holiday looks like, and so you can get an idea of what all of these folks' holiday will look like. But I wanted to thank all of you for coming on, especially it being a Sunday, and for sticking with it, because it is a grind, and there's lots of fear, and there's lots of like, we can't do this. But if you look back, I bet all three of you look back over your shoulders, you have accomplished more things and done crazier things than the majority of the world has these days. And we can do this. We just have to keep working together. Thank you. Yeah. All right, let's show a video of Humboldt Cannabis Tours while we move on to, we're trying something new. We've got Michael and Kelly in the studio is where we'll be going next. Awesome. Hey, you guys.
Well, hello, Lele.
Hello. I'm going to be in that studio this afternoon with everyone, I think.
We're just warming it up for you, Lele.
All right. My butt's going to need a warm seat. All right. Well, I am going to let you take over, Michael, so it can be full screen. Good to see you, Kelly.
Well, thank you all once again for being here. This is really special to me. This is putting me back in my element. I'm really, really happy to be here with Elio Roque of RAF or RAF Humboldt. Redwood Alternative Alliance Fund, and they're doing
Agriculture.
agriculture fund. And I made this mistake right before when I asked Kelly about it, and she corrected me already once. So
It's a tongue twister.
it's a tongue twister, but RAAF, they're doing amazing things. And one of the benefits of my job and the beauty of my job is I get to go visit all these farms like they're doing in the Tourism Council. And it's also part of what makes Kelly's job so special is she's out there getting to interact with the farmers and support regenerative agriculture.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about RAF and how you're connecting this community to the bureaucracy.
That's a good way to put it. So RAAF is a nonprofit. We are tax exempt at the federal level, which is a big win for a cannabis organization. And what we do is last year we subsidized Sun and Earth Certified and Simply Eco Certified their sustainability and regenerative farming certifications for cannabis and hemp. He's got one of our wonderful farms here in Humboldt, Huckleberry Hills. Got a shout out Johnny and his no helicopters, Sun and Earth Certified up there. Essentially, they got their Sun and Earth certification for free last year because of our program, which was funded through a Project Trellis micro grant, and that's one of our local programs here in the county. So yeah, we just raise money to help out people build their businesses and congregate around a certain set of values, which in Sun and Earth's case is growing cannabis in the ground under the sun, paying people fairly, and engaging with their communities.
So it's such a cool project because we hear time and time again, people are struggling. Regenerative farmers in particularly are struggling to get their product out there, to get the funding they need to bring this impeccable quality medicine to the people and to be able to continue to cultivate. These are farm first people that have been connected with the land, learning how to farm regeneratively. And that is an amazingly demanding process. And so they need this help to go out and find a way to be funded, to get certified, to celebrate and share this role that they're playing. They need to tell the consumer, and we need to find more ways to inform the consumer as to what these people are bringing to the table. And that's a big part of what RAAF does.
I would say RAAF is a small part of what the community is doing. And I think part of what makes the program successful is its smallness and its sort of singular focus on one little area that we can do a little bit of good in, do that really well, not try to take on the whole world. And it helped. I think we saved $36,000 worth of certification fees for Humboldt County farmers alone. And this next year, there's like really exciting things happening that I can't even really talk about yet. But I don't know, I'm a little nervous.
This is amazing. So we had an opportunity a little over a year ago to meet actually for the first time on a farm on Royal Grown Radio visit at Phoenix Rising Farms. Big shout out to you, Casey, out there, one of the most amazing regenerative farmers out there educating, growing amazing cannabis. Check them out if you get a chance. But we got to meet, and this was at the very beginning of the program, and you guys were just kind of getting started. So in that year since we talked and had an amazing emotional connection, I encourage everyone to find that episode on Royal Grown Radio because it was a special moment for all of us. But tell us about what's happened in the last year and how you facilitated these changes.
It was a long season. I think a lot of people in the community had a long season too. Over the course of the year, I visited over 30 regenerative farms in Humboldt and Mendocino, Sonoma, Nevada County. I got out there and around, and honestly, I've got one of the best jobs out there because I got to see the cream of the crop. And you're talking about these beautiful plants in the ground. This farm down in Mendocino, sun roots with like mulch this thick, earthworms everywhere. It's so beautiful. So, I visited about 30 farms. We got, I think, 26 farms certified for free in Humboldt County through the program. We received our IRS tax exemption, which was really, really cool.
Yay.
I presented directly to the Cannabis Ad Hoc Committee and, talked to them about the importance of regenerative agriculture and why they really need to consider helping these guys out at the tax level, at the county level, thinking about certification as a way to think about tax incentives and accountability. I showed them some of our reporting forms and how in depth and how detailed how much these people have to go through to become certified. It's not just like a write-in and we'll take your word for it. You know, people come out there and we take soil samples. We're taking a deep dive into their records to make sure that everything they're using is kosher and groovy. And it's not easy considering what they're already facing at every level of trying to be an operation. And so most of our people here in California can't directly market to the consumer. And if they do, they had to go through a lot to get that microbusiness license. And so Sun and Earth, a certification like that, there's all kinds of other certifications out there, but this is the one that I'm most, in love with, I guess, as far as what it stands for. It's just a way of saying these are our values, and this is the kind of values that's going into the medicine that we grow. So yeah, I think that's just kind of what we're all about.
One of the cool strengths about the Sun Earth Cert team is there's a huge community effort and deep ties to some of the original organic farmers and original OMRI certifiers. Jeremy Lord,
Jeremy is our board member, our president.
Big shout out to Jeremy. He's a huge influence on this community and been a part of the organic farming community here for 40 plus years through his family. And, you talk about generational contributions to Humboldt County.
Yeah.
That's them. And that's what this project is bringing to the people and helping to facilitate changes. People who are hesitant to throw those bottles away, move away from salt-based fertilizers because they're worried about their bottom line, and rightfully so in this time and place.
I got to visit a really cool farm. Villa Paradiso is out in the Palo Verde area this year. And it's Bob Stefano runs this place, and one of the most beautiful regenerative farms I've seen. And he told me that he was sitting in jail and thinking about the amount of fuel he had spent on diesel generators growing. And he was like, never again. I'm growing in the ground. I'm going to change the way I'm doing things. And what's really cool is I also got to visit his daughter's farm and certify them. So both of these, there's 2 generations of organic regenerative farmers this year got their certifications for free through RAF. It's a very small little piece, but definitely the legacy of Humboldt and of the Emerald Triangle, at least a part of that legacy is a great care for the earth and a concern for the way that we do things, not just the way that we grow, but the way that we do business.
It's so incredible that you got to visit the one farm and the daughter's farm. And that's just a testament to that legacy concept and what we're trying to share with the world in this community, in the Humboldt Grace community, and the people we're trying to support through the Fire Recovery Project. There are these legacy farmers where father, son, grandfather, daughter, all have been affected by these fires. And these are part of the tools we have to continue to support them. Getting involved in Sun Earth Cert, getting involved in RAF, and looking at different tools to access public funding to support these farmers. And that's a big part of what Jeremy Brown of Booney and one of the Humboldt or the Trinity County Board of Supervisors, when we sat and discussed some of these things, he also was just adamant about tying these things together. Hey, we have to get back to getting access to these public funds. We need to inform these people that are sitting on the hillside, struggling, fighting against fire, fighting against odds, fighting against bureaucracy, that there are tools and people here to help. And that's part of what this entire event is about. So thanks again to everyone out there listening, smashing those donate buttons, get out there, get involved.
Like I would say 9 out of 10 of the farms that I saw this summer, especially in Humboldt and Mendocino, part of the community engagement that these people are engaged with is, serving on their fire safe councils. They are volunteer fire department members. They fight fires. They're like on the front lines. They're out there growing, but they're also out there clearing and helping their neighbors when something goes on. So it's definitely really important to raise money for fire relief when it happens. It's going to continue to happen. So get your wallets out.
Yeah, bid. And there's so many amazing items right now that are available for you at under market value to contribute to this cause. So that's a really important piece of this, is finding ways to contribute and remembering that so many of these community members who are involved on boards and out there advocating have full 9-to-5 jobs or more. If they're farmers, it's, dawn to dusk jobs, but they're still finding ways to contribute their time and energy. It is just absolutely baffling the amount of love and heart that these people are bringing to our communities. And that's why I was just so blown away in our initial meeting about how much RAF can contribute to making life just a little bit easier and bridging that gap between the guy who's stuck with his arms in the soil, but yeah, he has to get in front of the computer and deal with that
So
bureaucracy.
another thing that RAF did this last year is we subsidize regenerative trainings for farmers with Joey Berger and Regenerative Boot Camp. So we also gave about $1,000 in scholarships to the Regenerative Conference that happens in Southern Humboldt. Happened for the first time in 2 years this year. And you know, so I think, let's see, just under $4,000 in the last year toward regenerative education. And one thing that I'm really excited about coming up this next year is that, I mean, I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure that there might be a way for these amazing regenerative farms to get paid for doing what they do and helping to mentor a new regenerative farmer. So I can't give details yet, but I'm really excited about what might be coming up. And I hope we can keep lifting up the people that have done it right for a long time intergenerationally and are continuing to bring people in the community along to reduce how much they have to spend on inputs and all the things that make it, you know, harder and harder every year and margins tighter and tighter. So who else? Who else can we shout out?
Well, that's really exciting because a couple of these folks that we're talking about, Kevin Jodry, who's involved in the Regenerative Conference, he's going to be on towards the end of the day. We got Joey.
Season George down there, Five Sisters, a huge part of that conference.
Yeah, and Joey's going to be on talking
Berger.
specifically about regenerative farming and some of those techniques. And, you know, while we're going over the concepts here, they're going to get a little more involved in exactly how to do it at home. And that's just an amazing thing. So we got a lot more to come for you today. Thank you, Kelly. This has been lightning.
We're on till we're on. But Kelly, thank you. I actually have the clip up. I don't know if it's the exact clip that Michael was referring to for you, but I'd like to close it out with that. And I believe I have the clip that you were referring to about Supervisor Brown.
So if anybody's watching and is interested in getting connected with these regenerative farms, you can just visit our website. We have a whole list of everybody that got certified. You can find them. You can reach out to me. I will connect you, get their product in your stores. So thanks, Lele.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Kelly.
All right. Here's Kelly's clip.
If we stick together, then we're so much stronger together. Like the greed and the money issue, that's powerful, but life happens across a huge spectrum. And that's what Casey's like totally figured out, is that life is happening daily. It's happening every single minute. And the way you spend your time matters to you and to everybody around you. It's not just about like this goal to get the most out of every system we encounter. Just for what? We find out that it's actually not so fulfilling. We find that out, and then we go to yoga and we try to figure out why we're not fulfilled. And we study yoga for a long time, and all we figure out is that everything's changing all the time, and that's the only thing we know, right? So what is there to do? Do something worthwhile. Do something that you enjoy. Be a part of life, not just a part of making something for one goal, you know, because you miss your life like that.
All right, now I have, that's so beautiful, Kelly.